Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Theology. My guest today is the one and only Street Hymns, who is a musical and spoken word artist, writer, producer, and battle rapper. Street has been a regular performing artist at the Exiles in Babylon conference, and he's literally one of the most creative and talented people I know. And he's become a good friend over the years. And this conversation is, well, you'll just have to wait and see. It's not linear. It's very circular. Both Street and I have a habit of chasing shiny objects as they pop into our head. So that's kind of where we're going. Street is also working on an extensive manga series. And if you don't know what that is, you will soon find out. So please welcome back to the show, the one and only Street Hymns. All right, Street Hymns. Good to have you back on the podcast. I haven't seen you since Exiles, which you crushed it, by the way. Do you ever self-assess, like, your quote-unquote, performance? Maybe that's not the best, term. But do you walk away from an event saying, man, I think that went really well? Because I think that your last performances, everything you've done at Exiles has been off the chart, but the last one was just really particularly special in my mind.
Yeah. I gauge it off of the response of the audience a lot of times, rather than my own, because I'm my biggest critic. So for me, it's one of those moments where I'm reflecting on how I could have delivered that line better, how I could have performed that moment better, and things like that. But yeah, the overwhelming appreciation that I received after the conference was definitely something I'm like, oh wow, like I love being able to be used in this way at this time, because the first few days were easier, and I remember you sent me an email and you were having a conversation on church and transgenderism and transitioned. And you were like, hey, you don't have to do a spoken word on this, but if you feel led to, cool. Yeah. And I didn't have that piece written until that morning. And so for me,
that used to make me so nervous, dude. When you're like, yeah, I'm 10 minutes before you get on stage, you're like, yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done wrapping up my thoughts.
You were doing that. I was like, hey, you like this line? And Chris coming over. Yeah, Theology speaking,
The first time when I didn't know you that well, the first Exiles, dude, you write stuff the morning of, and I was so stressed out. But then
you're seeing me walk around practice.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Man, yeah, that was I will say that first Exiles actually gave me the confidence of an ADHD creative. I've always shamed myself for preparing, i.e. last minute, but the tough part was Exile specifically. I remember months before going there, I told people in my Bible study, hey, I'm about to do this big event. I haven't gotten the inspiration to write. Could y'all just pray for me? I'm having people pray for me. I'm setting off times where I'm taking off work and I'm just locking in and attempting to write, and nothing came. Wow. I didn't get what I was supposed to say until I got on the plane. And then I started writing. Then I met the people at Exiles and I was like, oh, this is why. I didn't know what this audience needed. And so if I would have prepared something rather than constructed something for the individuals I had interactions with, I wouldn't have been able to deliver a message at the same potency. And so it was actually me being able to interact that inspired the work. So it was almost like you're getting a live canvas as somebody's preaching. And so that's what it was for me. You're like the ice sculptor that shows up as people are walking around, and you're seeing the art come to life. Me having conversations with people that were transgender, me having conversations with people that were affirming, me having conversations with people that were, thinking things through, that inspired it. And I didn't get that until the night before, and so it was one of those things where, as a person who definitely loves being able to create, but also being spoken ill of, because not everybody who books you will appreciate the fact that you're creating on the spot. because that's not how they work. And they'll think that you're not taking it seriously, or that you're not caring about it, or that you're not, you're not prepared. When in reality, I've done the same thing with battle rap, and it actually gave me the confidence of like, you know what, I'm the way that I talk about it now, I plan to procrastinate.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm going to allot this time near the closest time to the event to write, rather than try to make myself do it a month ahead of time and not get the inspiration. Because the way that my mind works is not only the pressure, but the intimacy, like the social interaction really does fuel the art for me. So yeah, I've been able to really, really learn and grow as an artist and as a writer through doing Exiles.
Yeah.
Wow,
dude. So because you're such a, gifted artist. Your creativity, it seems to come from almost elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like it's downloaded, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like you're grinding to create. It's almost like it's this supernatural experience. It seems like, and this is pretty true of like hardcore creatives, not people that can create. Everybody can create, but then there's those people that just have this all like sixth sense, whether you're a writer or a painter or whatever, or a musician. So for you, that it's not. See, procrastination is like a derogatory term, right?
Yeah.
But for you, is this how your art typically works? It's not procrastination.
It's procrastination in the sense that it's for other people that looks last minute.
Yeah.
For me, it's timely. And so I tell people when I have projects with them, or when people say, hey, let's work, I emphasize to help me out. Tell me the date, remind me the date, like give me the date, give me and I don't do that because I am trying to like pester them. It's me saying, me knowing me and you not knowing me potentially, I need you to help me out by holding me accountable to a time. Because when the time comes, I'll be ready. I just need to know when the time is, because if it's just in the air, it's going to stay in the air for me because I have a million other things in my mind. And that's like, actually getting clinically diagnosed for ADHD, and actually going through the motions of what that means as an individual who grew up with this neurodivergent condition and being shamed for forgetting things often, and shaming myself for leaving the keys, leaving my license, it's just like, I hated it. And I didn't understand it. And every time something like that would happen, I would be criticized. But the people closest to me gave grace. And it wasn't until I actually started to find out more that I wasn't, number one, alone. And that also there were tools and encouragements for people like me. That's when I actually got to walk in my strengths rather than focus on my weaknesses. So yes, I am liable to forget a date because time and the concept of time just works differently in my mind. And I understand that now, and I'm liable to, forget somebody's name or forget that I had, but for me, experiences and social interaction is what carries things. And so, yeah, man, I've just, as a creative, I'm understanding that the gift of what I'm able to do comes with burdens, but I'm focusing more on the strength of it rather than the things that hold me back, because the things that hold me back, I have people that cover me in those things. I'm not ashamed to ask for a reminder, and I'm not ashamed when somebody reminds me. Like, as somebody who's ADHD, like I cannot be offended when somebody's like, I kid you not, I've forgotten weddings. And then my friends are like, hey, you're on your way, right? And I'm like, thank you. And I'm on my way at that moment, okay. And I've had the wedding on my reminder. I've gotten 4 or 5 things. I can't, to the person who doesn't have the condition, it sounds like you don't care. But I'm like, I promise you I care. My mind is elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
Is that a symptom of ADHD or a symptom of you being hyper creative, or is it both? Because I
yeah,
know some
so
friends with ADHD that aren't
ADHD,
to that extreme, but they're not like
yeah,
hyper creative either.
yeah. So it's more so hyper focus,
Okay.
and so it's tough to say. And this is the thing, the misconception about ADHD. It's like, oh, I'm focused on things I care about, not necessarily.
Oh,
It's
huh.
just what I'm focusing on, I'm caring about. And so what the misconception is that because I'm not focused on the wedding, I didn't care about it. When really I
Right.
saw a beetle, it interested me. Now I spent 30 minutes researching beetles, and then I'm like, oh snap, I forgot about this. I forgot to take the trash out. I forgot to do the dishes.
Uh,
And it's not until I focus on the dishes where I'm like, okay, now I'm locked in. But even
yeah.
that focus on something that is not currently stimulating me, not so much not interesting me, but stimulating me. It's just hard, sometimes like structuring things, ordering things, reordering things. So yeah, I think it looks different in different people, but the misconception is that it's a care model of
Yeah.
like, oh, because you missed out on this, you didn't care. It's like, no, I promise you I cared. And that was the thing that I have the blessing of having friends who are gracious and loving of me to understand me that like, if they really want me somewhere, they're going to remind me 2 or 3 times. And I never feel offended about it. And I actually enjoy, I'm
Okay.
like, thank you so much for continuing to remind me about this. Cause I really did want to come,
That's good
so
to know.
yeah.
Yeah. That's such a helpful distinction because I don't I've experienced a little bit of what you're talking about. Like I get that when I get lost, especially I mean for me writing. Okay, when I there's been days just yesterday I got up at 6 a.m. and I was glued to my computer till 6 p.m. Really,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the gym. I have to force myself. Well, first of all, that's terribly unhealthy at 49 years old to be sitting for that long. And so my back, I have like major lower back problems because of that. So they've been telling me like every half hour, even if it's 15 seconds, just do some squats or something, just
Okay.
move. So
Mm-hmm.
I've had to force myself to, but if I didn't like force myself to think of moving, like I would literally be, and I've done that. I've been literally like not moved for like 6 hours straight, just like absorbed in it. So I,
Yeah.
but I don't have. But for you, it seems like it's all of life is like that. For me, it kind of just comes down to maybe writing. But I've been misunderstood the same way. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
you didn't care? Like, my mom's like, you didn't call me back for like a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not because I didn't care. It's just like I was so absorbed in other things.
Yeah, and
But
I think about neurodivergence too, because especially for older people
mm,
who have it just were never diagnosed. The couple things come into play. One thing is mirroring. It's I I act like what people are acceptable of, so I shadow the self of me that's more natural. So people want me to show up this way. People need me to act like this. So I'm going to portray this so I'm more accepted in society. You see this a lot with people with autism. They attempt to socialize and do what other people are doing when it's really not natural to them. They'd rather be doing something else. So I think especially for older people, like if it's not the fact that you're weird, it's just you're different.
right.
And that difference, being affirmed in that difference and actually putting a label to it and showing you that it's not just something where it's like I'm emotionally off. It's no, you're chemically different.
Yeah.
Like you have the way that your brain is functioning and wired. It's just
Yeah.
literally different than how the average person's brain is, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
I've been encouraging like a lot of my older friends to actually go get see a psychiatrist and get clinically diagnosed for anything, because at the end of the day, not just for the aspect of medication, but just for the education of it, and how, oh wait, yeah, I realize now when I work out and I'm more consistent that my day goes better. That happens for most people anyways, but for me, it's like starting out with the discipline of working out and that repetition. Like I go to HotWorks every morning and they already have the video prepared for me. And it's to the point where I can quote what the people on the screen are saying because I'm so consistent with it, you know, and because of that consistency, it actually has helped other disciplines in my life as well. Yeah. So yeah, man, I mean, I would have thought you were neurodivergent, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I've never.
You've never been diagnosed. Yeah, I would have thought that just because, like, the way.
Why is that? I'm curious. Like,
the way your mind works, the way you're able to chase rabbits. You know what I'm saying, but also get back on topic. And yeah, just it seems different, you know. But I also see how a lot of times you're talking for the sake of people understanding. So it may not be in the natural flow of what you want to do, but you know, so I don't know. I always thought maybe he is neurodivergent.
Well, I've got a couple of close friends that said I'm pretty two. I won't name them, but yeah, two really, really close friends who said I'm pretty sure you have ADHD. they both do, and they're like, you're
it takes what I would have assumed that with you, man. Like
I'm probably off the chart ADHD. Yeah. When were you diagnosed? Just recently?
Yeah. It was in the peak of a emotional irregulation season for me. I was in a relationship, and what I realized was things that I naturally did were beginning to become offensive. And so forgetting important dates, not acknowledging certain things, but never doing it intentionally. And I'm sitting here like, wow, like I hate that this is happening, but I can't explain why it's happening without sounding like a lunatic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I would actually love to have a covering medically, you know, and so I go in for a check engine light, you know what I'm saying, of the oil change. Come to find out, it's like 5-6 other things on the charts. I'm like, what in the world's going on? I'm not gonna lie.
Your brakes are shot. Your tranny needs an overhaul.
Oh gosh, I was mad at him too. I'm like, nah, take it again. Do it again. Do the brain test again. I don't like it. And they was like, sir, this is the science. Like, what do you?
You don't need to say it, but are you on medication, and does that help then with your?
Yeah. ADHD? So I'll say this much. After being diagnosed officially, I didn't go to the best physicians.
Okay.
And I actually thought about, you know, suing, but it was a very, 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 very non-productive experience for me emotionally, to the point where I have the people on staff that were like, yeah, this shouldn't have happened. I don't know why, but the person who diagnosed me, which was a nurse practitioner, they just had an issue with me personally. And I was like, I'm just here to get well, you know, and it was a lot of runaround. So I never got to the point. I had the prescription ready, but I never bought the actual, I never bought the actual medicine. But what I did do was in the wake of that, I went and got some L-theanine drinks and supplements. And those have been helping me out a lot. So I've been actually replacing it with L-theanine.
What's that? L-theanine? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it is medically, but it's an all natural substance. And I take some, like, if it might help you as well. Like, it's just something that helps you just lock in. I go to Sprouts. It's like a $15 bottle, or Whole Foods. They got like $15 bottles, and I take like 3 of those pills, and I'll be good to go, man. All natural. L-theanine. And it's also in that Focus gum, that new Focus gum, the sugar-free gum everybody's raving about.
Oh, really? Focus gum.
Yeah. Really, really good for focus, man. So I try to do the natural way. But I'm also not opposed to the medicinal. I've seen other people benefit greatly from it.
Yeah. I as a general approach to those things, I always try to say, is there a natural option first? I'm not opposed to medication, but I think our society is hyper medicated, right? We
Yeah.
just rush to synthetic stuff, which again, I'm not opposed to that. It's just like, are there natural ways to do it? I mean, exercise is a huge one. People that
Mhm.
struggle with depression, this, that. I'm like, all right, tell me about your exercise routine. It's like, yeah, I don't exercise. I'm like, that's probably where you should start, you know?
Exercise and
Like,
diet, man. Exercise and
yeah,
diet, man. So
yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know if you want to take this conversation specifically somewhere.
Well, with apparently
We're
we're
just
gonna be chasing lots of shiny objects. So I hope our audience could hang on. So
squirrel. All right, but yeah. So man, so this last year, especially even during the time I did Exiles, I was a substitute teacher,
yeah.
and I was a substitute teacher for a middle school, and it actually was highly beneficial for me because I did it in the midst of needing to pay the bills and not being as booked as frequently as I was the year before. And I'm like, I love kids, and 13, 14 age group, that's been kind of my wheelhouse since I graduated high school. And
Wow.
so I was a substitute teacher at my local middle school. And number one, it was beneficial because I am writing a manga, and this is literally the age group that will be reading it. It's like I'm in the class seeing other kids read other mangas and like be enjoying that. And also just to understand the climate of where our culture is at and where it's going. And it was a beautiful experience. I'll tell you this, Preston. I couldn't tell you what the counselor's office was for when I was in middle school or high school. Like for me, it was like the person to help you schedule. These kids, they go to the counselor's office because they will literally say, I'm depressed. I have anxiety. I can't even. And then they get a pass to there and they're playing Uno in the counselor's office. You know what I'm saying? It's also, the counselor is like most middle school counselors are overwhelmed because students know how to communicate emotional trauma for the sake of getting out of class and going there. And so it's one of those balances where, like, how do I affirm while also being logical to the fact that, okay, even though you may be anxious, I don't want you to develop a crutch of allowing this to be something that whenever I feel this, my immediate response is to isolate, is to run, is to not deal with it and actually involve myself in whatever I was going through before. And so it's a tough thing because for the average teacher that's dealing with a repetitive student who's emotionally irregulated by what they're saying, it's easiest just to let them go rather than deal with them in the classroom. So I'm seeing a lot of teachers and a lot of educators that have been 20 plus year educators that typically retire in the field. They're just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, especially in Title I schools. And being a Black man in this education system in a Title I school, essentially, it was almost like I was a hot commodity. It was like, man, like, thank you so much for being here. Your presence alone has been impactful as a man, number one. And for me, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize it. To where when I go and do Exiles, I come back, they're like, thank you so much, Mr. West. We missed you. And I'm like, I was gone for 4 days, It's like the school felt it.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so it definitely is one of those things that I feel as though I see this split between emotional intelligence and emotional knowledge. Emotional intelligence is defined by the ability to respond to emotions that are taking place. But I think people think they're emotionally intelligent, but really they're just emotionally knowledgeable. They're able to recognize what emotions are there or able to see what's happening inside themselves, but not actually deal with it. And so I think that split is causing a lot of people to be comfortable rather than actually go through and work through what they're dealing with. And I don't know, especially with the children, I love being able to be someone who is artistically or even abstract creatively challenging that concept just so we can help our kids grow, and also help our adults grow in that as well.
I do worry about, and you're in this a lot more than I am, although I have 4 Gen Z kids and with friends and everything, but so I'm in that world, and and I am concerned about the for lack of better terms, the sort of fragility that seems to be accepted. So there's a famous book, famous in scholarly circles, called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. He's a, I don't know, philosopher, social something. But he talks about just humans we're anti-fragile, meaning we get stronger when we face what he calls stressors in life, resistance. And you know, there's that famous analogy of the trees and the dome. You hear about this, where they planted the trees in a dome with no wind to see how they would grow. I don't know what the purpose of it was, but they realized that trees were just falling over because they need some wind, they need some stress to cause their roots to grow deep. And with no stress, the roots didn't go deep and they toppled over. And you know, it's an analogy for human nature. You know, our muscles will atrophy if they don't have pressure. Our immune system will be weak if it's not faced with challenges. And I do worry that, you know, younger people, if they face any kind of discomfort, they think something's wrong. Like, I need to get out of this discomfort. And I just think it's producing, generally speaking, more fragile rather than anti-fragile people. And the other thing too is there, you know, if everything's trauma, then nothing's trauma, you know? So if a kid, you know, receives a bad grade, even though they thought he should have had a better grade, you know, I got a C- and I should have had a B+, and I'm traumatized by that. It's like, well, then what word do you use of the kid who's being molested by his father? You know, like,
yeah.
You can't have the same word for both. You know?
So it is trauma is like the impact, you know, it's how it impacts you and the level to which is why those adjectives usually come ahead of it. You know, what type of trauma is it? But yeah, man, I think it's just a response to boomers, millennials. On the other side of the spectrum, we didn't feel.
We didn't deal with our stuff.
We didn't have the luxury to feel. It's like you get up, you go to work, you die, you know? And so the kids are like, I don't want to be that. And instead of acting like I don't feel, because imagine you being pressured to do all the work and just overcome your emotions and be more like me. And then the kids are looking at you and you're like, you don't even know how to feel.
You're super unhealthy.
I don't even have the example of what you're telling me. You're just telling me I'm not strong enough. You're just telling me I'm weak. You're just telling me, and I'm like, at least I'm not you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I think that's their response. And talking to Gen Z, you know, I think that they're in a place where they're realizing that the template and the model that was given, which was do it like us and do it like this.
Yeah.
It's not needed. It worked, but the results of where it worked towards, they're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's like, I can actually get everything you're talking about without going to college. Yeah. I just got to make a lot of good content. And I can do that from my house. So I never actually got to leave the comfort of my own home so I can be comfortable and successful. Your version of success was uncomfortable success. Yeah. Every person I'm watching on YouTube and TikTok, they're comfortably successful. I want that. And so it's because it's accessible, it's newly accessible too. Like, comfortable success is a very, very foreign concept to humanity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Actually having the average person have the ability to, if I'm an 80-year-old grandma and I'm just funny enough, I can become a content creator. If I am a child or I'm a parent who has a funny child or an interesting child, I can become a content creator. I never have to leave the comfort of my home, and I can actually inspire people. I can be a celebrity. Celebrityism is more accessible than it has ever been in any time in history of humanity, you know? And so with that capability, it almost incentivizes people to not have to deal with things, you know? It's because it's comfortable. Yeah. And those stressors, being able to avoid the stress, you know, and I understand why people are avoidant of stress, soft life promoting, you know, easy breezy life, those concepts. And I'm like, man, I love that for you. I said, I just don't have that luxury. And people are always confused when I say that. I'm like, I work with kids. I work with juveniles. I work in Title I. I work in urban settings. Like, you can't go into a juvenile detention center and think I'm going to live the soft life. These kids need help still. And I know that the moment I walk in, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be cursed at. I'm going to be stressed. And that's why I'm signing up, because that's all that they know how to output. But when I go in there and I'm a foundation that is unwavering and my roots are deep, they then have something they can cling on to when things go bad, And so I have been in this weird place of like, I get why people are the way that they are, and I understand it. I'm just not for Christians to fall into that, because this successful life apart from suffering is not what Jesus promoted. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of suffering that we all have to endure, because that actually is what produces perseverance and endure. Like those things that we look at in James, it's like these are things that define the Christian. For us to be able to persevere and endure, we have to be able to go through something in the season we're in, so that the next season we're able to overcome because of what we've already been prepared in. And to say that I'm able to be comfortable and not actually have to endure anything, yet I'm still defining as a Christian and saying that I can actually have all these things without the suffering.
Yeah.
I think that is the American dream currently that a lot of Christians are falling for. And so I think it's one of those things where, man, what if we're called to be in the places that people are now avoiding in because it's uncomfortable, and that's where we need to show up at, because that's where people are needed. Because even in those comfortable spaces, people are still dealing with things that they now are afraid to even communicate online. Now they actually never had to be challenged in. And the moment they are challenged, their whole identity is shattered, and they had this crash out, and it's like, yeah. So yeah, man, it's interesting. It's an interesting place, but I'm more encouraged because I'm also seeing a lot of Gen Z creatives that are unabashedly ashamed and killing it for Christ right now.
Yeah.
And those are who I'm like, I can't wait to promote. I can't wait to give the mic to. I can't wait to show off to the world, So I'm encouraged by the next generation as well.
Hey friends, if Theology in Raw has blessed or challenged you in any way, would you consider supporting the show through Patreon at patreon.com/Theology in the Raw? We are actually revamping our bonus material that Patreon supporters get. So we are going to 2 bonus Q&As per month for all the different paid levels. Silver level gets access to ask questions for the Q&A episode, and also you will get access to Exiles in Babylon archived content, which will be releasing different videos every month. Also access to bonus research episodes that I'm gonna record from time to time. Access to rough drafts of certain things I'm working on, which is a little scary for me to let people look into that because it's a rough draft. Gold and Gold Plus members get we have monthly Zoom chats and all the other perks that the other tiers get access to as well. So again, if you want to support the show, it really, really does help us to flourish as a ministry. Again, patreon.com/Theology in the Raw. I will see you in the community. Speaking of creative, let's chase another shiny object. You mentioned in passing that you're writing, I hope this is the right phrase, writing a manga. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't know what manga is, it's it seems like everybody outside of America knows what manga, but even in America, it's a lot. It's kind of like either it is everything or you never heard of it. It seems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that? It's almost like the.
You have a 14-year-old, you know what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Like most kids are like, that's life right now, man. Manga, anime. People call it manga as well. Either one's right. It's just comic books. It's a Japanese style comic book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's a
culturally,
specific. Is it the simply the artistry that makes it manga versus not manga, or is it the storytelling? Like oh, for the 40% listening that may have never heard
yeah,
of it,
yeah, yeah.
go like we know nothing. Explain to us what manga is.
Yeah, I'll use this analogy that they'll understand. The separation between a comic book and a manga is the same between a doll and an action figure. You know,
Okay.
it's
That's good.
just like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
don't call it a doll. It's like, this is an action figure. It's like cartoon and anime. It's like, to you, you just see a cartoon. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't just call it a cartoon. This is anime. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like
yeah,
anime
yeah.
is like the final product or the end goal for a lot of mangakas, as manga creators, manga authors, which is my comic book has now become a anime. But manga just means comic in Japanese.
Oh,
And
okay.
so the 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 manga culture, it's definitely a style and genre, you know, and they've been doing it for as long as the culture's been alive. I actually had the opportunity to travel to Japan last year with the Amasins, and
Hmm.
we did a whole tour of old Japanese art and in periods that were 500, 600 years ago. And these
Wow.
artists were doing manga. They were doing panels on boards. And even I got to go see it was called a kabuki. And a kabuki is basically a Japanese play. And the actors within the play, they have some lines here and there, but mostly it's narrated, and the narrator's next to an instrumentalist who's like, you know, dun, 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 hoi, you know, and then in the background you have people making certain noises and playing certain instruments as well. But what's interesting is that as the kabuki's going on and this play's happening, the people are doing movements that are very almost robotic, and they're doing lines. And I was wondering why. It's because they're essentially doing panels. Each movement itself, if you go see that play 20 times, it'll be done exactly the same 20 times. Because what they're doing is they're almost doing thumbnails of each movement that you can capture. And that's the moment. So it's like they're creating manga even in like the movement of their
Wow.
plays. Like that's how their culture is. So to know that a lot of the animes and mangas are still involving those same cultural concepts that are 1,000 years old. It's just so cool just to kind of
Wow.
see their history of things that I grew up watching. I heard these sounds. I heard narrators. Like the common every manga and anime has a narrator in it, and I'm just thinking, oh, that's just something that cartoons. It's like no, like that's something their culture does. So it's just pretty cool. But essentially, I'm working on a manga. It's not traditional in the Japanese style because Japanese script is written right to left. And
Okay.
so mangas are read right to left. And so we
Right.
would call the book backwards, but really it's frontwards for them. We're going to do a manga, but it's going to be left to right. I'm not an illustrator, so I'm a manga author. Like I'm
Okay.
just a storyteller. So I have an illustrator. But it's been a joy just to be able to uh, learn fantasy writing, delve into the world of creative writing, and find discipline and consistency in the writing process. It's something that, as someone who has a heart for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I see what common mangas are being promoted, and very few kids I meet don't know what manga is, and most of them own something. Yet, never do the parents actually vet what the kids are reading or vet what the kids are watching.
Okay.
Yet, every single manga that's out right now typically has over sexualization,
Really?
vulgar content, very, very gruesome content as well. And this isn't a diss to Japanese culture, but when we don't understand where we're getting our information from and things that they are finding acceptable that we may find different. For example, Japan just raised their age of consent to 16 years old
Really?
2 years ago.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
They raised it to
Wow.
16 years old. Because it was at 13 years old, the age of consent.
13? Age of consent for sexual relationships, are you saying? Or 13?
Look it up.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is so
if a 22-year-old has sex with a 15-year-old as of
acceptable.
That would, wow.
But they just raised it to 16. Just.
Wow.
So with the culture having the acceptability to have this standard, this is what the kids are it's okay to have sexualization. So there's a popular manga called Chainsaw Man, and it's really just about a kid. He's like 15 years old, and his whole mindset and his whole ideology is, I want to grope women. And so his whole thing is like, I'm willing to fight demons. I'm willing to, because I know at the end of the road, I'll be able to cop a feel. That's literally and it's very, very popular. It's one
is manga always directed towards kids, or is there like adult manga?
Yes.
Or
so essentially, there's different. So there's seinen, which is adult. There is shonen, shonen, which is the genre I'm in, which is young boys. Shonen is young boys, and then you have shoujo. So it's one of those things where there's something for young girls, something for young boys, and there's something for adults.
But it's mainly young teenagers.
The most popular mangas are shonen. Yep. So most of the mangas you're going to know about or hear about are all shonen, which is young boys, promoted
boys.
Okay. Yeah. But within most girls love shonen, but there are designed for, like, you have things like Sailor Moon, which is a classic manga or anime that was created for young women. And it's like the mostly female cast of superheroes and people that are, very talented. And so typically, but the most popular genre amongst all of them is shonen. And so because of this, what is being promoted to young boys, in my opinion, I didn't have the mindset or filter of, what I'm watching may not be appropriate for my age right now. When I started watching it at the age I was watching it, it's just, every now and again, a kid will run, fall down the sters, and end up in a woman's bosom. And then next thing you know, his nose is bleeding because he's like infatuated with her. It's like, like that's, for me, it happens in almost every. Oh yeah. But it's so common because that's just, now it's not to say that I'm against exploring what, sexuality is happening within young boys or young women. I'm not anti that, like what it means to have conversations about this, because that's something that also those kids are thinking about. But I think to have it in a way that has been commonly over sexualizing the female and the male at that age without any filter or parental advisory, and being called shonen, to where it's like, oh, this is 14 plus. When a parent sees that, I don't have to read it. I can just trust the label. This is 14 plus in Japan. And we don't have the same standards as them, but we don't change the label. So
is some of it, can some of it be not just overly sexualized, but overtly pornographic, or is that not?
That's called hentai. Yes, it's just that's not going to be shonen. That's called hentai. It's just porn. Yeah, obviously, there's a lot of that as well. But
that's not marketed to kids, or is it? Kids get a hold of it, I'm sure. Obviously,
it's a little harder. In Japan, yes, I think it's easier. I mean, 16 you can. Before, I guess 13 you'd be able to. But I think it's one of those things where it's accessible. I knew about it back then. I wasn't my thing, but I knew about it back then as well. And if you want to find it, you can. But there are moments that are sexualized and overly sexual within even just regular shonen. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you just have to understand the culture, while also, in my opinion, I'm like, I would love to be able to offer the beauty of a character finding himself in identity and the struggle and the joy and the pain of friendships, and adversity and overcoming an enemy that is literally trying to destroy you, and having these biblical themes and biblical foundations of storytelling similar to a Tolkien or a Lewis,
Yeah.
I wanted to do that without having all the other things that would be flagged within my own conscience and within, just regular parental advisory standards. So I wanted to give Gen Z a gift of a manga that they could enjoy. That's what I'm working
awesome.
on now, man. Yeah.
So the over sexualized piece, is it mainly heterosexual, or is it
They
the same sex?
I forgot what the genre is called for male on male and girl on girl, but that's actually a very, very popular and growing genre right now, man. It's called Slice of Life. It's Slice of Life. I'm sorry, Slice of Life. And it's a. What's funny is it's literally just almost like watching a streamer. It's not so much different than just seeing somebody live an average life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are using that as escapism because it's either affirming them in their reality or affirming them in reality that they would like to enjoy, seeing a kid fall in love with somebody who doesn't love them back and having to fight through that. And it's not any superpowers. It's just literally just a kid living their life. That's a very, very popular and growing genre right now. But you also do have your same-sex attracted and explorative within the identities mangas as well. And those I think are doing well, but not like blowing up.
Yeah.
Like Slice of Life is doing very well during this time period. And what's funny is the culture of manga is very, very interesting because everyone watches the anime already. And we know what happens. We know how it ends. We know what's going on, yet we'll still go buy the manga because it's something that we're a part of the culture and we need to take something back with us that we can have in our house. And so even though you probably never even read the manga, or you do, you just want to have it in your hand, though you already saw the episode, and it's just the same thing because you can relive it yourself. It's something special about it. It's like the culture is truly beautiful. And for America to be so enticed by it and delving into it the way it has, for me, I have been that person myself. I am that person myself. I love manga. I love anime. And I see the impact it has on people. And I see the impact it had on me as an individual searching for identity and trying to find himself. And seeing this young kid named Naruto overcome all the stuff he did while also being rejected by everyone, yet still never giving up. For me, that was my identity. Like I was doing Rasenguns and in youth ministry, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, it's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this kid's weird. I'm like, you don't know, man. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Believe it.
So just to understand, so it is a physical comic book primarily. Mm-hmm. There's also movies that
those are called anime. Yeah, when the physical copy of the book is translated, it's almost like a book to screen. It's just the anime is the animation version of a manga.
I mean, similar to Marvel, right? Or Marvel, whatever, DC Comics. They started as a physical comic book. Now they're a movie. So but there still is this, like the physical copy is actually still seems primary. You're saying?
Oh, that's the highest selling books right now.
Wow, really?
Yes. Wow. There's and it's the out of every genre, they're scaled, I think, to have like a 20% increase in the next 5 years. It's wild, man. So for believers, I'm like, this is a wide open, net of people and kids that want something. The company I'm signed to is David C. Cook. Mm-hmm. Their highest selling asset within their company is their Action Bible.
Yeah,
is their Bible that has comics in it.
That's not manga, right?
No, not at all.
But it's I mean, it's comic.
It's action.
It's not manga. Action. Well,
yeah, it has comic strips in it, and they had an amazing artist do it. But it's one of those things where kids want to see the pages move. They want to feel it. Like, what did David look like? What was What did his face look like when he threw the sling back? And what did Goliath, what I'm saying? Like, to be able to feel it, it truly is it's a beautiful genre, man. And you'll see the difference as you kind of study what a comic book is and what a manga is. You'll see the difference in how the flow is. It's very, very not as dynamic at times, but it's more allowing the story to fluidly go through each panel, from one panel to the next, so that it just feels like a fluid, like you're almost, you can picture the anime in your head, and so I truly love the genre, and I can't wait to actually give what we've been working on to the world, man.
Are there other, so if this is this popular, are there other Christians producing not necessarily Christian manga, but just not overly sexualized and
There's a lot of good anime and manga out there that doesn't have any of that, but also I think people can be overly critical. For example, like if a parent walked in on a child watching a scene of a manga or anime and they see a bunch of men in a bathtub naked, they'll be like, turn this off. Mm-hmm. Yet when I went to Japan and I was in my hotel, that's what we did. We were all naked and we all hopped in a bath together.
That's like a bathtub or a hot tub?
Culturally, it's like, you think it's a bathtub, but it's really like a pool. It's like a warm pool.
Okay.
And it's a bathhouse. And so the men bathe together and the women bathe together. And so when I was there, when in Rome, I'm like, all right, why not, man? And nobody's, it wasn't weird. It was just like, it was culture. And just seeing like all these men, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be able to just take the shower, go to the bathhouse, chill for a little bit, go to the sauna, and then go back to their rooms. It's just, that's culture for them. So I also see how something that we're not familiar with can be overly sexualized from our perspective. But yes, there's actually Christian mangaka. There's Christian manga creators. Ink for Saints, Thero the Kid. He's dropping some really, really great stuff. My original illustrator, Crazed Kai, she's killing it. It's a lot of people that are actually taking faith foundational concepts or even outwardly expressive faith-based mangas and doing amazing stuff with it, man. I just think that the issue is, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this as well, there are very, very talented writers. Mm-hmm. And specifically, this is my issue with Christian media. Mm-hmm. When it comes to fantasy, I don't think that they would have signed C.S. Lewis if he didn't have a following today.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's a lot of people that are great content creators and even great creators within the fantasy realm or the mythical realm or the manga anime realm or whatever it may be. But they wouldn't get their opportunity from most companies that are Christian media because they don't already have a prior following. And so I think it's a lot of people that are missing out on being signed, missing out on being funded, missing out on being promoted because they aren't viral. Yeah. But here's the thing. You can't name me a single fantasy creator that wants to actually do stuff online because they're socially awkward. That's what you get with fantasy creators. They were rejected in the real world, so they had to create their own world. So no, they're not going to like social media. George R.R. Martin just happens to do stuff. So yes, he'll show up to do stuff because he's getting paid. He doesn't want to be out. He doesn't care about that. You know what I'm saying? J.K. Rowling doesn't want to be on social media like that. It just so happens that this is where people are at. So he has something to say. Most people that are great fantasy authors are weird in real life. And they don't really care about people like that. But I think because we're missing on that aspect and seeing that in the church, these people who are neurodivergent, the people who are socially awkward, the people who are nerds, if they present you with this script, if they present you with this manuscript or this thing that says, hey, I want to do this for the church and it's great and they're actually talented, but a lot of the media companies are looking at, but what's your following? Who's your endorsers?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's less about the actual writing and the storytelling anymore, and more about what's the ROI immediately. Like, and so, bro, I'm telling you, man, I am so blessed to be able to be with David C. Cook. And like, I do have a general following, but they're taking a lot of chances and risk with me, you know, and it's been a blessing, man, to work with them and what's called Crux Studios, CURX. It has been truly something that I've become a better writer. I've become a better man. I've become a better disciplined person through the process of writing and just the ability to really, really delve into the story. And here's the best part, Preston. In my entire time writing, they have never challenged me on story.
Oh, that's so great. Wow.
Like for me, that's gold. To know that I can, this isn't a Christian manga. It's a faith foundational manga. That's what I call it, you know, and to know that I can talk about sorcery. I can talk about witchcraft. I can talk about, you know, transhumanism and address these things in a manga about a young tent maker who's been chosen to lead his tribe and everyone doubts him, including himself. That's so beneficial to me because I'm like, I have the freedom to write, knowing that I'm trusted from a theological standpoint, that I'm not going to do something anti-church or against the church. But I do want to allow my manga to be on the shelf next to popular manga, not on the Christian section. You know, I want it to be in the school system, being sold in schools, and certain things can't be sold in schools based on their religious perspective. So I'm like, I want to be able to impact the world, the marketplace. And so, yeah, man, I do think that I know some amazing creatives, but I also think that the reason they're not known yet is because they're not being supported yet. And they're not being supported yet because they're not being supported yet.
Publishers they're in a tough spot, you know, and David, like I would affirm that because I'm on my, I don't know how many books with David C. Cook, my third of a 3-book contract. And they
some cool stuff, man. I know I can't talk about it, but I heard you working on some good stuff, man.
I'm working on. No, everybody knows I'm working on. I'm a couple weeks away from submitting my final draft of my book on women in leadership, which is
okay. You can talk about it. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. No, I don't tell people where I've landed. They'll have to read the book to find out, and that's not. I don't. I want people to pay attention to the content and argument and not be so absorbed with the conclusion before they open the book. It's going to get out before I'm not, you know, so adamant about keeping it as well. I'm going to try to keep it a secret, but David C. Cook, they've given me such a long leash on everything I've written. My books don't fit their typical genre. Like right now, I probably have 500 footnotes in this manuscript. I used to have 1,000. I cut about 20,000. No, probably cut almost 30,000 words, but they still allowed me to write a fairly long, heavily footnoted book. You know, my writing style is still very conversational, but I'm dealing with like some nitty gritty exegetical stuff. That's not what they typically produce. They allow me to bring my own personal editor in, like he's built into the contract. They work with me on all. I mean, such a long leash because they have said, and I believe them. They've demonstrated it. They're like, we believe in who you are. You don't need to fit into this box of, you know, a typical author because you don't fit that box. So we want you to be you. And they have repeatedly said, you be you. We want to support what you are doing. So that's that. But, you know, publishers they do have to sell books to keep the lights on. How do you sell books? Well, when you get a proposal from somebody with 100,000 followers on Instagram, you know you're going to sell thousands of books without putting a dime toward your own publicity. And yet, just because somebody has a big following on social media doesn't mean they're necessarily a gifted writer with a really amazing argument or content that the church needs to embrace. So I've heard publishers say, you know, they have these kind of 3 tiers of authors. You have your top tier that pay the bills, the Francis Chans, the Andy Stanleys. Then you got a whole range of mid-level authors. I would probably belong somewhere in there. You know, they're going to sell 10, 20,000 copies maybe. They're not going to keep you afloat, but they're, they're going to sell something. Then they do have this lower tier people with little to no following. Maybe they're a first time author, but they've got a really good idea. And I think most publishers will say we do, we want to kind of roll a dice with these authors. We don't know. They might sell 500 copies. They might, maybe it'll take off. Maybe it'll be like The Shack, which nobody wanted, and it became, sold millions of copies or whatever. Or Wild at Heart, John Eldridge, that book sold millions of copies, and it was like, I think all through word of mouth. Nobody thought it would do anything. So even from a financial standpoint, those that lower tier first time authors, people with no previous previous following, they could end up paying the bills. But I just, the system, I don't know how else to do it, because they do have to pay the bills. They have to. They have to sell books. But
I think that exploring fantasy, man, like it really does shock me to think that Christian publishers probably wouldn't have worked with Tolkien. I think Cook would.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you know this, but I'm partially signed to Cook because of you.
Well, I knew I connected you with them. Yeah.
Well, more so, me doing Exiles and me being asked to do Exiles is how the people at Cook knew me. So when I pitched my book to them, they were like, "We won't even need to see anything. Just bring them on." It was just like,
I know I told them about you. I don't know if that was before they heard you or after. I think it was before.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
You told me that you're working on something, and I remember, again, it might have been after, it might have been before, but I told Michael, the publisher there, I was like, hey, you got to keep an eye on this guy. This guy is doing really good stuff.
Hey, man, okay. Hey, next time we go for wings and beer, man, it's going to be, I didn't know. I was like, man, getting signed is easy.
Yeah.
We submitted it, like, within an hour, they hit us back. It was like, oh, yeah, we're in. I'm like,
well, I think once they heard you, they're like, this guy is onto something here, Yeah.
But I'll say, man, like I said, Exiles prepared me for the long writing journey, because before Exiles, I wouldn't have even call myself a spoken word artist.
So funny, I didn't know that. I thought you,
you just
saw me do a spoken word. Yeah,
you saw me do battle rap. I was like, oh, he could rap, or like he could do poetry. So let's bring him on. And I was like,
okay.
I'll figure it out.
I think this might have been a white boy blunder. I probably didn't know the difference between battle rap and spoken word. I'm like, oh, look at him finding spoken battle words and stuff. Can you do a spoken something in my conference?
but now, man, like I don't limit myself anymore, man. Like through music, I started doing battle rap. Through battle rap, I started doing spoken word. Through spoken word, I became an author. It's just one of those things. I'm like, all right, Lord, like, where do you need me? Send me out. But to the point, I do believe that fantasy is something that Christians, I don't believe we stopped in. I just don't even know of the Christian content creators or the Christian creators of fantasy that really need to be heard right now. And I would love to know them. I just think that the tough part about being a fantasy author is you get so caught up in the world you create that you forget to even push it to the world sometimes, and I had the blessing of having a team around me that's like, hey, deadlines. Hey, how far are we in this? Hey, check in. Hey, quick touch of the manuscript. That's illegal. My bad, man. I was trying to make some changes. I thought this would be a better thing to say than this. And I was like, I'm sorry, y'all. It's a learning process, man.
That's funny. Do you think, the common critique is Christian fantasy writers, or even Christian, fiction writers and stuff, their stuff is too on the nose, it's more Christian than art. Christian movies and these things, and but there's got to be Christians who are actually J.K. Rowling level creative writers, right?
Yes. I would be remiss to not think that it's not like somebody's doing it right now. It's just, anybody who worked with them would be taking a major risk. And that's the issue, because as much, I will never diss any type, and I'm not even gonna start naming names, like Christian media, because whether I like it or not, or whether it is high creative, or whether it's even well produced, somebody's benefiting from it somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And it's being watched in mass. So yeah, I would never limit how God can use any form of media. As far as like media that can go toe to toe, now we're talking about something different. We're talking about, I have atheist friends, or friends that are non-believers, or friends that grew up Christian. It's like, oh, Chronicles of Narnia is Christian? Oh man, I always watched that growing up.
Yeah.
They love it as art, not knowing that it was symbolism inside of it. And even that symbolism, Tolkien was like, hey man, you're doing too much. Like, it's, why you gotta be so blatant? Lying? Come on, man. You know? It's like
Resurrection.
But I do think that they're out there. And I mean, anybody listening, if you're that person, like, man, I'd love to hear what you got. You know, it's just, I get it. I understand what it's like, because I had my idea for my manga 6 years before I was signed, you know, and for me, it was one of those things. I'm like, I know that this isn't just a whim. I know it's not just something that just happened. And even the story of how I got signed is truly a divine, miraculous moment. But for me, it's something where I truly was supported and funded and affirmed in what I'm doing. And I know that if the next person who's also doing something similar, but also better, you know, that actually has the season aspect behind it. Because I'm becoming a seasoned writer. You know what I'm saying? There's people who've been doing this for years that are already on their 5th or 10th book, and they're doing fantasy that I know are Christians and I know have something to offer, but they just don't know. We don't know who they are. I can't wait until those people come up, you know, because a lot of the fantasy authors that are out right now are Mormon.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're the best.
Why? What's the connection there?
Yeah, there's there's Brandon Sanderson. He's one of the coldest. Like, I don't know if you know about Brandon Sanderson. He's
I've heard the name. I'm not in that world though.
Yeah, I'll say this much. Imagine the Marvel universe created by one person.
Huh.
I mean that very literally. Over 80 books, all the books, and most of the books are of individual characters, and somehow they all connect in the same universe. Yeah.
Wow. Is he like overtly Mormon or religious in his? Yeah.
Most of the fantasy creators of our era are either atheist, popular, or a lot of them are Mormon. Yeah, I have no idea.
But what? So Sanderson, is it like, if I read it, would I say like, oh, this is clearly written by a Mormon, or he's just
concepts, good overcoming evil, you know, that common trope. But other than that, no, you wouldn't be like. Okay. I think people are surprised to know that he's that genre of religious. You know, it's like, oh man, I was hoping he was Christian. You know, that type of thing. But really, it's like he's Mormon, man, and he's one of the most talented writers of our generation. And there's just a lot of, I think it's funny. I saw a YouTube video yesterday of I was going to watch it when I had the thumbnail, so I need to save it, but it said why a lot of fantasy authors are Mormon. And I want to check it out. I'm actually interested. I don't know the answer either, but I'm pretty sure there are some connections there, you know, but yeah, I think also Mormons don't run from mysticism, you know, within their religion. You know, I know, even modern day Christians are very much, all right, yeah, we know incense was used back then, but hey, yeah, we know rubbing oil and anointing oil, but, you know, so Mormons are like, oh yeah, we are magic. You know? So maybe it's the acceptability of it. I don't know. We'll see.
I grew up with a lot of like apologetics, you know, dismantling the Mormon faith. So like magic underwear and this, that, and all this stuff what goes on in the temple. Maybe all that's true. I don't know. I haven't went and checked. But, so maybe there's an element of fantasy built into the religion. I don't know. I don't know how much
Well, when you're taught to believe in magic at a young age, and like this is just regular to you, it's like, oh, I can write about magic. I can write about fan. Like this is something I'm encouraged to do. Let me create my own. You know, I mean, essentially, what we're claiming is Joseph Smith. He was a fantasy author. So, he's the OG.
I don't want to offend my Mormon listeners.
Yeah, well, my apologies.
But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking it like, well, yeah, the Mormon religion has a lot of fantasy built in.
Yeah, fantasy elements to it, and it's just the faith and wonder, and beyond what we can see, beyond what we know, beyond what we're familiar with, and I'm like I said, I'm excited to see where things will go because I do think that the complaints of high art being promoted are soon going to be heard. And I'm also appreciative of companies like Cook who are willing to take risks and support creatives who are telling great stories, despite the popularity of it or despite the criticisms that the message that the book is saying might receive, you know.
Did you happen to read Greg Coles's book, Limits of My World, his fantasy book?
I haven't finished it. I have to make it to the end. But I haven't finished it yet. I keep telling myself I'm going to I haven't delved into any fantasy books because I'm in my own world right now.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I'm doing is like watching animes I've already watched. And this has been the last year and a half. So I told myself when I finish, I'm going to write it, but I'm just like, I'm going to read it, but I haven't finished it because I'm here we are a year later after transitioning from one artist to the next and finally having a new artist as of 4 weeks ago. You know, I'm just now comfortable with my first volume being actually accepted, you know, after a year and a half of writing.
So you're doing a multi-volume series, right?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going until I can't go anymore.
Oh, you don't have a set all right, I'm going to write 10 books. It's kind of
I could finish in 20 or so. I could potentially
20.
20. Yeah.
Is that normal to have that many books? Because they're short, right?
You want to have typically maybe 50 plus. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Manga. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because think of it like this. Most mangas nowadays are going to have 3 or 4 seasons of 12 to 24 episodes. Each volume is maybe 3 episodes, 4 episodes worth of a book.
Okay.
You know, or each anime episode is probably worth 3 episodes of a book.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So one book you can squeeze out 2 or 3 episodes per book.
And do you release them all at the same time if you do 20? No, okay.
Yeah.
When will your first one come out then? Do you have a target date for that or?
So now that we have our new artist, and our new artist is really, really talented. His name is Shango Mola. He's from London, and man, the guy is just crisp, man. What I love about him is he's a storyteller as well, and so he's been able to see my story and amplify it, if anything. But essentially, we're looking at maybe another year before release, or maybe another half for promotion. Just because it takes a while for things to be drawn. So the thing I can do on my end is make sure I'm ahead of the writing so he doesn't catch up to me. So I'm essentially working on 3 different volumes right now, apart from volume 1. I worked on the second volume, which now has been split into 2. So second and third. And then I'm working on volume 0 as well, which is the preceding events before the first volume, you know? So it's very manga-esque. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. Given the climate of manga, given the climate of the world, I think that my manga will do really well. It's called The Fallen, by the way.
Fallen.
You know, yes, these beings have fell from the sky and now are offering mankind all types of things like immortality in exchange for their humanity. You know, and now you have this kid who's been chosen to lead his entire tribe in a fight against the fallen. So I'm excited.
It's like the Nephilim in Genesis 6.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, I got
used to the biblical themes in there as well. If you're tapped in,
I'm excited to see it, man. The Fallen. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Probably Greg, I can't wait till he works on other fantasy work too, because I think he's one of the guys who can create high fantasy art as well.
Yeah, and he's able to do a Tolkien level, like playing with theological themes without having it so overt to where it's almost
Unenjoyable.
well, I, I, I think there's something powerful about the subtleness of themes that invites the viewer reader into the story so that they are forced to wrestle and play with it and figure things out on their own. If it's too on the nose, too in your face, it's like I feel like that almost fosters passivity among the reader. Like, isn't good art is supposed to like invite you in, and maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I don't know. Like come join me in the journey and figure it out together. Yeah. So more Lord of the Rings than Chronicles of Narnia. Hey, I gotta go. I got a guest coming in here in a couple minutes, but dude, I don't know. I have no clue what we're gonna title this episode. So
street. That's what it is.
Yeah. I can whenever I have a wandering conversation, I usually say a raw conversation with whoever it is. So maybe
I'll do that. ADHD, fantasy, and manga. Right? Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, love you, bro, and super excited to do Exiles again with you. I don't know if the audience knows, but we are doing Exiles next year in Minneapolis, April 30th to May 2nd. Save the date and come listen to Street Hymns and a few of his friends.
Catch me at the right time. I'll be writing in front of you.
you might be baked into the script.
This show is part of the Converge Podcast Network.